right, everyone. Welcome to the maiden voyage of the Why Can't We Be Friends podcast.
We're on a voyage.
And I am your first host, Sallie Dale.
Not to be confused with your other first host, Holly Feltz.
I think that after some time, we will have a contest to see who's the favorite host of the audience.
I think that would be great.
I think it'd be good for our friendship,
I think
too.
all friendships should have that contest. It would really be telling.
Who's better?
Who's better? That's what we need to know.
Yes.
No.
Well, I'm imagining that people who are listening to this podcast probably follow one or both of us on Instagram.
I think so.
Maybe someone just stumbled upon it, but probably not yet, since it's the first episode.
This is the first episode.
But we are so glad you're here, and we really are doing this for fun.
Just having a good time.
And for the money. But for fun. No, I'm kidding. We're not making any money.
We're joking. We're doing it for the fame.
We're doing it for, yeah.
Oh,
it's
sorry.
all about the fame.
No, for fun. Fun. That's right.
We enjoy getting together and talking, and our idea is that you put this podcast on, and it is like you are out to lunch with two of your besties.
That's right. We're your new besties.
We're your new besties.
Do you know that we have been talking about this podcast since last year?
When did we? I feel
it's
like
only January.
Well, I feel like the idea started kicking around in our heads in April of last year.
Oh, you know specifics.
I remember because it was when I threw up in your car.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that is kind of the first time that we kind of started, the seeds were planted.
I think that's when we started getting more serious.
Yes.
Just in our friendship overall.
Well, how could you not take a step in your friendship when one of you throws up in the other one's car? That either it makes or it breaks a friendship.
Let's not just say that you threw up once in the car. It was for a steady 6 hours you were throwing up in the car. That is telling of a friendship. But here we are. We made it. We're making things even more official by
starting a business.
By being friends in business and then sharing it with the world.
And also, Holly and I are setting up an LLC. So our friendship is also going to be legal.
Yes.
Legally binding.
Legally binding.
If we are no longer friends.
Should we say vows?
It is. But if something happens and we are no longer friends, it's more than just we don't hang out with each other. There will have to be
we're going to have to go to court.
A legal division of the assets.
Who's going to get the kids? We'll figure it out.
Who's going to get the Instagram account?
Hopefully we never have to figure this out.
Yes, so we are so glad that you're here and that you're listening. We hope that this sparks joy. And today we are going to talk about something probably everyone is thinking about, which is the new year. Resolutions.
Oh, yeah.
Goals.
Yes.
Vision boards.
Tell me more. I love it.
I do not like the new year.
Here we go.
It's so sad to me.
Why is it sad?
Because Christmas is over.
Oh, it's coming back this year. It's coming up this year.
To look forward to.
Oh, that's not true.
The grass is brown. Everything is dying.
The grass will soon be green again.
It's just, I just get sad. The sun sets at 4:30.
Okay, have you always been this way? Has this been your whole life? You're like, New Year's are the worst.
I have always been sad at the end of Christmas in January. But I will say, in 2020 was my first New Year postpartum. Dot was only 4 months old. And that was the first time I had the thought, maybe I have seasonal depression.
Maybe there is actually something to that.
Yeah, and I'm not going to diagnose myself because I know there are people who actually have seasonal depression. But I will say I am very prone to seasonal sadness between like January and definitely February. I get really
I will agree
sad.
that February, if your birthday's in February, I apologize. That's something we're celebrating. But I don't enjoy the month of February because
What's the point?
I am not a depressive, is that a word? Sure.
Yeah.
Depressive, I don't know, I'm going to keep saying it. Depressive person by nature, but I will say in February it comes around and I'm like, okay, what are we getting at here? What's the next
point?
What's the next thing? But I love New Year's. And I love New Year's goals and New Year's resolutions. And it's a fresh start. And all the possibilities. I mean,
do you look back at 2021 and see where you crushed it? Do you track your goals? Did you have a reflection period?
yes and no. So I tend to want to jump to the next thing, which is why I find New Year's exciting, because it's, oh, look, it's something new and shiny. And that sounds more exciting to me than looking back at all of the, I mean, not necessarily, I mean, it's easy to look back and be like, look at all that was amazing. But it's hard for me to look back and be like, okay, but what do we need to correct?
Yeah.
But that's also where the good goals come into place, because you got to see where you struggled to get better at it. But that whole process is like exciting to me, to be like, let's sit down and map it all out. Let's write out all the finance things. Let's get all the goals on the table. And that is not the case in my own marriage, because my husband, you know, Micah, is just like you.
Yeah.
And he's like, this is the saddest time of the year.
I think one of the problems for me with goals is that either I'm making no goals or I'm completely changing everything about my personality in the new year.
Are you also a person, let me ask you this. So if I'm going on a trip, all of a sudden I'm packing, I might as well pack all those vitamins that I don't take, and I'm going to take 5 books, and it's like way too ambitious.
Outfits that I've never worn before, but it's like, I'm going to be this person.
But
on
I've
vacation.
literally packed vitamins that I've never taken, been like, this is probably the time that I need to start. This is a new me on this trip.
I'm not vitamins on trips, but in the new year, I'm like, I'm going to wake up at 5.
Yes.
And I'm going to go to the gym, and I'm going to read a book.
Yes.
And I'm going to read a book. My book goal is 52 books.
In 52 days.
I'm going to be a vegetarian, and I'm not going to have any sugar. And I'm going to do Whole30. And I'm going to do
I think this is how everyone...
I'm going to clean my home. I'm going to get rid of everything.
But I'm also going to hire a housekeeper. And then I'm also going to do that. And it just keeps going. And I think that's everyone's... I think that's why everyone's intimidated at some level of the new year.
You start your goals and your dreams way too high. Way too many of them.
Yes.
So today I crushed one of my goals.
Oh.
I got up and went to the gym, which I already did that, so it wasn't really a new thing. I already did that. But it had been a while since I had been in the morning, because Christmas, and
It's just a lot.
I had the C word. I had the V virus over Christmas, and so I have not been in the gym. And when I was there, I kind of wanted to say to everyone, because you see a lot of the same people, but just go, I'm not one of the new people, guys. I was already here. This isn't a bandwagon fad for me. I got sick and I had to go. I'm back now. I'm not one of those new people that's going to be gone in February.
So that is really funny, because I have another friend who is a total gym rat. Total, like, she would probably refer to herself as that. Like, constantly, her and her husband, like, lift together in the gym all the time. Like, total gym people. And I was asking her, are you a New Year's person? Because she's super type A. Mm-hmm. And it's easy for me to just assume that a type A person is like, oh yeah, I'm getting all my goals in order. This is it. And she was saying that she did not like the new year, but more than anything, she hated the new year because her gym was overrun.
It is.
With all these people. But I thought that's so funny, because in the past, when I've been consistently working out and when I'm in the gym in January, I'm like, look at all of us. We're all trying. I'm so proud of you guys for showing up.
I mean, if one of your New Year goals was to join a gym, you're
welcome.
You're welcome. I work for a gym. I teach classes, so I'm glad when new people are at my class.
It's a good thing.
But it is hard, because just even from that perspective, when I was teaching group fitness classes all the time, you see the same person in like 5 different classes a week, and then February hits and they are gone. And I'm going, okay, maybe if we take
it's too much.
Maybe if we go like 1 class a week.
Right.
Or instead of changing everything about yourself, just take a step.
Well, if you want to make it even smaller, there are people who say your first goal shouldn't even be to go to the gym 1 day a week. It should be to set your shoes by the door and to like put on your shoes in the morning and make it an effort to like really break it down to, okay,
step 1, get out of bed.
Step 1. But for real, I feel like that's one of my goals right now, is to just get out of bed, because it's really hard in the mornings.
Have you been falling back into
back into...
Well, in Christmas especially, it's kind of...
It's cozy.
Yeah.
It's dark and like later in the morning until the sun comes up. You know, all of the perfect recipe for you to just fall off the bandwagon. But all of that to say, so are you someone who would say it's easier, that starting is the easy part?
Well, this is part of a reason January and February are hard for me is I just don't feel like doing anything.
Is it out of, I'm not doing it because then I would be like,
well, I don't want
the
to
goals
be like
people?
everyone else. Yeah.
Or is it, I'm not doing it because I don't know where to start?
I get overwhelmed by not knowing where to start. It gets to be too much. Or again, I will set too many goals for myself. And then you fail at one, and then you just go, well, what is the point with any of this? And that's something I've tried to kind of change my mindset. Just because you mess up one time doesn't mean you need to throw out the whole thing.
Doesn't mean it's all over.
Doesn't mean it's all over. There's a quote that circulated around Facebook or Instagram a few years back. It's like, you didn't have a bad day. You had a bad moment that you let turn into a bad day.
I think that's true, though.
Yeah. And that I can very much be my whole day's ruined.
I think around the new year,
the way I wanted it to.
Around the new year, everyone's always, like starting is the easy part. You got to keep showing up. And I'm like, I kind of feel like starting is the hard part because I think it says more whether that's you're going to attend an event that you haven't done or you're going to go to the gym and you haven't been in a while.
Yeah.
It's really hard to show up somewhere because I think people in the back of their mind are like, well, I'm probably not going to do it in 3 weeks from now, so I might as well not go today. And it's like, I think you're more likely to stick with something if you just do the hard part of showing up or starting or putting pen to paper and being like, okay, I'm just going to look at finances today or whatever that goal is that you're working towards.
So did you make a list of resolutions or goals?
I'm working on it.
Oh, okay.
So the hard thing for me is that in the past, if I did not have it all complete by January 1st, there's no point.
Your year's
the new year's
ruined.
over. The new year, it's worn off.
It is one day only.
It's one day, but we're here in the first week. And I have been working on doing a business evaluation, plugging in my numbers and figuring out, the true costs of things and where am I at and what do I need to be looking at and how much is coming in. Just starting somewhere with finances seemed like the easy thing to start with for some reason. And then I'm going to get to the fun things. So it's almost like I'm getting the hard stuff out of the way in the beginning. And now I'm going to go into what are the fun and exciting goals that I want to make happen this year. But yes, I am doing that.
I think one reason, because of my personality, or I have a proclivity towards just not wanting to really know how things are actually going.
Yeah, out of sight, out of mind, sweep it under the rug.
I don't really need to look at that. That's fine. Specifically with business, I hired an accountant last year, and I didn't realize this, she had been sending me profit and loss statements for every month. And Andrew asked me one day, he's like, what was your P&L this month? And I was just like,
don't talk to me about that.
I don't know.
So intrusive.
It's rude that you'd even ask. And I asked her, he's like, she should be sending you those. And he's like, it's no work for her. She can just send those. And so I texted her and said, Kara, can you start sending me these? And she said, I have been sending them. Did you not get them in your email?
You weren't taking care of business.
I was not. And I was not looking at my emails. And actually, the last couple of months, I have forced myself to look at them. But it has made me so much more aware of what am I spending? Because I know at the end of the month, there's going to be a bill to show me this is how much you spent on this that you said was a business expense.
Oh,
it wasn't really a business expense. So I am seeing the benefit of evaluation, but it's just so much in the new year.
It's hard.
I'm just kind of like, I don't want to look at that right now.
But who wants to talk about it? But it's hard to be accountable for something if you're not aware of it. So if you're the person who
that is true.
Is wanting to, shape up in the new year, we don't have to say lose weight, sensitive terms
Put on
sometimes.
muscle.
Whatever you're wanting to do, you have to take a look at why am I wanting to do this? It means there's something negative that I want to correct. And so I think for me, sometimes it's harder to set goals because I don't want to look at the negative because I just want everything to be rainbows and sunshine and everything's fine. Like we're doing great.
So a couple of years ago, and I tried to find the blog post for this to link in the show notes.
Ooh.
But the blog doesn't exist anymore, so I'm going to paraphrase.
Wah, wah, wah.
I know. I had a friend who wrote a blog post, and it was five lists you need to make in the new year. It was not resolutions and goals. It was these different lists. And I don't remember all of them. But the few that I do remember, it was so helpful to me. So one of them was 5 things that bring you joy, just daily.
I like that.
Daily joy. One was 5 things that stress you out. So I went through this list and I was thinking about 5 things that stressed me out. All of them linked back to feeling rushed or being late, which you might laugh at because I am late most every time, all the time. But I don't like it. But what I realized was when I put those lists together and I realized, okay, being late is a huge stressor for me, I could run it back through, okay, why am I late? Because I wake up late. Mm-hmm. Because I'm so tired. Because I'm going to bed at that time. I'm going to bed at midnight or 1. And if
why can't I get up at 5 a.m.?
Why can't I get up at 5 a.m.? And if I would just go to bed at like 9 or 10, I could get up early. And so I did that. That list really helped me identify it wasn't 5 things that needed to change. It was one thing creating stress in 5 different ways that could be solved by just going to bed earlier.
Well, and it's hard.
It really helped me.
It's hard to feel or even be in control when really you're being controlled by your phone or not, like you said, not going to bed early enough to get ready. Yeah, like your habits. Yeah. Ooh, habits.
Do we need to just do another whole other episode?
On just habits, the good,
but
the bad.
New Year is a time where you naturally evaluate what are bad habits because you've kind of been floating in the nebulous of Christmas and New Year's.
It's
and
inevitable
then January
to think about.
Comes around and you kind of go, okay, I got to get my life back on track. It's natural. So it is a time of going, I need to look at like my bad habits and what I want to change.
Right. So have you done that? I'm working on it. Are you?
I think I probably need to put pen to paper. There are, because I had the C word virus, Christmas and New Year's did not feel restful to me at all. And usually that's the time when I can completely unplug from work and do fun projects. And I didn't get to at all. We didn't even get to have family Christmas. It was
so sad.
It was such a bummer. And so I kind of feel part of my reason to push off evaluation is because I'm going, I didn't even get to have a true
Are you throwing
Christmas
a fit
break. Yeah, a
with
little
yourself?
Bit. And so I'm kind of giving myself a little bit more time. And but I know there are things specifically with business that I'm going, do I want to just flip the switch back on in the way that it was and just go business as usual, here's how we're running it? Or do I kind of want to go, I want to push pause and even see if I want to do what I was doing or if I want to do it a totally different way. No one is holding a gun to my head and saying, you must sell craft
until
kits.
I come over later and I'm going to tell you.
But I'm kind of going, I've got 2 kids now. Last year, for a good chunk of the year, only had 1. My business ran completely different when I only had 1 kid versus now having 2. It's changed Andrew and I's relationship where it's it's much more mom and dad and playing defense with 2 kids.
Because you have the kids. It's no longer like, oh, I'm going to go home and take care of Dot. It's like the kids are in, and you drive a minivan.
1 kid.
You're very mom.
Having 1 kid is like grabbing your purse on the way out the door. I'm sorry to tell you guys who are struggling with 1, you have a puppy.
Not valid. I have 1, and she had brain surgery last year. So you tell me that while you grab your purse on the way out the door.
Yeah. But when you have two, you'll go, well, what was I doing with my time? And you'll really go, what was I doing with my time when I had 0 kids?
Oh, I
could
do
have
that for
conquered
sure
the world.
now.
But you just, how can you learn what can only be learned in hindsight?
Right.
So I am getting to the point where I know I need to sit down and have some contemplative time. And what am I doing with my life?
Right.
Type
Well,
of
and even
situation.
for the mom that has 2 kids, the mom that has 1 kid, or the mom that has no kids and has 3 puppies, whoever she is, we all only have the same amount of time in a day. It's not that someone has more superpowers than you, or someone magically was granted 4 extra hours in the day. And so that's how they are able to live an effortless, successful, they're in the gym, they're eating healthy, they seem to have it all together. It's more of maybe you need to get your head down and pay attention to how you're walking through your day. And I'm saying that to myself.
Well,
I'm in control of my day. I don't get to sit and point fingers and go, why is her day so much easier than mine? It's like, no, she's clearly just a little more disciplined in some areas, and I should learn from that instead of resent that.
That I have totally been looking at that lately, going, what is the difference between me and a super successful person? Is that they do the things that they know they need to do, whereas it's easy for me to go, it's hard.
So upon reflection, I like to journal. I don't do it every single day, but I do it enough that I have years that I can look back on, and there's enough in there. Like, we'll say at least 20 out of 30 days of a month, I would journal.
Wow.
And I was looking back on last year, naturally, and it was funny because in January, I should have brought my journal and read it out. But I was listing out things that I was hopeful for, or things that I like really genuinely wanted to do, not just these are my goals and I'm going to share them on Instagram and look at me, I'm a shining star. It was, no, these are really things that I want to do. And I wrote, the only thing standing between these simple goals is self-discipline and just like showing up, being consistent, and then choosing to do it. Like, that's it. It's not a secret recipe. It's not buy this course that's going to shape you into a person.
Doing it.
It's no, just, do you want to do that? Well, then actually do it.
Yeah.
And like change some things that aren't really serving you well. And that is hard. And I would say that's probably what makes people intimidated and resentful of a new year is, well, I don't want to give up those things, but I do want to be better, but not that bad.
I want to fit in those jeans, but I also want to have cake.
I don't know why you're attacking me personally right now. It feels a little rude. But yes, no, it's 100% true.
Yeah, you have to decide what do I actually want. And for me personally, in this season, through January, I'm kind of okay to just go, I'm ready to rest just a little bit.
And rest.
And not feel bad about that. But also not use it as my Christmas got ruined.
Right. Poor me.
So I can't look at...
Do you guys want to come to my pity party?
Yeah.
It's going to be
fun.
I
can't look at my goals because that's hard right now. So I am... I'm meeting with, on Friday, I am meeting with a logistical engineer.
Try to sound more professional and legitimate.
I need some help.
You can't.
I need some help. So I am hiring a logistical engineer to help me.
Hey, admitting you need help is a big step.
And also for me, I'm going, I can't just flip the switches back on and go and run things the way I was running them. I refuse to kind of turn my business back on until it's fundamentally better.
Well, and I think
just need some help.
I think that that's just so important for people, even if you're a mom who is at home and maybe you don't run a business or have, a bunch of things that would necessarily go to paper to where it's like, here's my list of all the to-dos and all the things I need to take care of. Maybe it's just taking care of your home or serving that place well. It's like it's just as important, I think, to sit and go something, just to have that evaluation of how can I serve not only the others around me better, but myself better, to where I'm feeling not as rushed running out the door, or these simple things to where, kids can wake up really early and they can be on the best schedule in the world, and one day they're just not going to follow it because they don't want to. Is it their fault, and should I be aggravated at them because I wanted to sleep in a little bit more? Or is it, you know what, I just got to bite the bullet. I got to get out of bed make the cup of coffee, whatever it takes to get me out of bed and to just go, this is one small step into having a way better day and not feeling as rushed. So we're looking at some practical steps, right? Because, I mean, we've talked about it's stressful, it's overwhelming, and it can be too much, and it's easier to be like Sallie and shove it under the rug.
Yeah. We just kind of took a few moments to put together the five easy steps.
You know what's funny about this is that we're each going to share them, and now that means that we're each accountable for them.
Oh, I'm going to keep you accountable.
Oh, you've never been kept so accountable as I'm about to keep you accountable.
But if you're listening, you probably already have your own list. You probably already know. These are not it for me. When I made that list a few years ago with the 5 stressors, it was just taking a moment to be aware and now going what you said, accountable. Okay, yeah. I know that going to bed at midnight makes me mad.
Right.
I can't do it. I can't
stop it.
Do it. Yeah. Okay.
I would say too, to someone doing it, I think it's easier if you just sit there and go, okay, 5 things, go. And make it really quick and don't allow yourself a ton of time to really dwell on it, because I think those first things that come to your mind are obviously the most important that need to be knocked out.
And it's easy, especially now with everyone posting their New Year's resolutions online, to pick up other people's resolutions that you have no conviction for, but you think, well, that's a good idea. I should probably do that too.
But if you hear one of ours and you're like, that's really what I need to do, you can jump in on our accountability train.
I would say it's like the time that you said you wanted to run a half marathon, and I said that would probably be good for me too.
We'll talk about that.
And I ran with no conviction. That's what that was like.
Hey, neither did I.
All right.
Okay.
What's your first one?
My first one is waking up before Everly, my daughter. Just being up before her. Even if it's 5 minutes before her.
That makes a huge difference when you have children, to be up before them.
Yeah. And it's hard, but I got to do it.
What time does Everly wake up?
So she fluctuates. Normally, I know for sure if I was up before 7:30, I would beat her because she definitely wakes up by 7:30. Sometimes I'm lucky and she wakes up at like 8:30. But for sure, the safe zone would be being up before 7:30.
Yeah. Dot will sleep until, we'll stay in her bed until 10 if I wanted her to. George.
Oh, Georgie boy.
Baby son.
He
slept today, but Andrew, anyway, it was a whole big thing. Is like 6 or 7. So
so you better get up by 4.
I did have my alarm set today for 4:30.
Oh man!
And I slept until about 6 something, and then I did go up. And
Seems reasonable.
He was still sleeping, and I thought, I'm gonna get out of this house and go to the gym. And if he cries, it's Andrew's problem, not mine.
Classic. Okay, that's my first one. What's yours?
My first one was putting things away immediately. Ooh. My house gets cluttered, and it's such a problem with 2 children now because there's just toys.
Let's break it down a step further. What's the one, like, what is the ultimate area that you're like?
My kitchen.
Okay.
Oh, it stresses me out.
Yeah.
And I am pretty good about putting everything in the dishwasher before I go to bed, because there's nothing I hate more than waking up and there being stuff in the sink. But there are so many things in the evening when I go back through the kitchen. There are snacks and like my olive oil, and I'm going, Sallie, why did you not just put this away when you were using it? It takes 5 seconds, and then evening Sallie is stuck having to clean up afternoon Sallie's mess.
And they're going to fight one day. And we don't know who's going to win.
Getting into it. There's so many things that if I would just put things away immediately. Also applies to laundry.
Okay.
If I could just be better about put those towels away.
I know. One time recently, I would say like in the last 3 months, Micah and I had a reality check because we truly had the tallest mountain of laundry. Like, I didn't even know we owned this many clothes. And it was just piling up, and it was clean. And at one point, I don't remember who brought attention to it first, and we were like, we've got to get it together. Yes. Look at this mountain. And we're not doing great at it, but we are putting it away a little more consistently. But yes, I would agree. Putting things away is huge. My second one is setting time restrictions on social media. Mm-hmm. And listen, this company, Apple, is making it so simple. We knew accents were going to come out at some point. They have it in the new update that you can literally lock apps from certain times.
But do I have the passcode?
I think it
unlock
requires,
it.
if I understand correctly, because I think Micah is the one who told me that he has some set up, and you have to it's an effort to unlock it. You have to do it a couple times to where it's like, you really want to do this?
Well,
you really want to be a terrible
when
person?
they first had the screen limit, it would go off and it would say keep browsing, and I would just
You would just click
Yep.
it. Okay.
I do.
Even if I slip up and do that sometimes, I think just trying it out and
You
setting
have to
it,
be aware.
because I've never done that, and my thumbs are so fit. They just scroll. I mean, I can just probably most of us, we can just sit and mindlessly scroll. And I'm not so much on that's making us all terrible people, to each their own, whatever. But for me, I'm I think just a little bit more awareness of, let's just lock it. We don't need it from, these certain times, or maybe closer to dinner time, and especially in the evenings. I think I need to set something up.
My phone limited screen time is my number 4, but I'll go ahead and put it now. One of my friends a couple weeks ago said that she heard somewhere
Through the grapevine,
using your phone with the sun. So she doesn't get on it until the sun is up, and when the sun goes down, her phone also goes down.
I like that.
I do too, because I already don't keep my phone in my bedroom, which has been the best thing that I have done.
Well,
because I would end up staying up late, and then I look and I'm like, what am I looking at?
I will say,
dancing reel on Instagram,
I
ordering something.
I keep my phone by my bed still, but that is because the baby monitor is on my phone. I have been actually keeping, thanks to you, my Kindle by my bed.
Yes.
And I've been reading at night now. And because I have these books on there, I want to read those more than now that I have a light on it. And it doesn't annoy Micah, because he tries to go to sleep and then he's like, turn your lights off. So now I'm able to lay there and read, and that calms my mind a lot more than watching a dancing video.
Yeah, you have to replace, something. But I have to be very mindful, because when I get up in the morning, the first thing I'll do is go check something. Instagram, and I'm like, what am I on here for?
Well, and it's just immediately
I need to get off, or just check my emails. I don't like being bombarded with the day as soon as I wake up, and it's all these emails.
Right.
And so, screen time was one of mine as well.
What is your next one? What are we on? 3? Or it's your
did
we
turn.
say your second?
Waking up early and going to bed early.
Oh, okay. Okay, let's move along.
That changes my life when I go to bed.
Well,
by
my
9:30.
next one kind of goes with what we just talked about, and that was putting my phone away before bedtime. And really an easy way to do it would just be thinking, once it was time to put Everly in the bath, it would really be time to put my phone away, because then we do bedtime, and then that's my time to unwind. I normally like to take a bath and read or do something to where it's winding my brain down from the day. And it's really easy for me, just with the way my personality works, and then just owning a business and having that mindset, that if I am on social media late at night, it's not so much that I'm on it late at night mindlessly or, comparing or doing that. It's just that I will not stop thinking of, what can I change? What can I update? How can I be better? Not just even as a person, but just as my business.
And
how
I need
can
to solve all these problems at 11:30 tonight.
And I think it's easy for a lot of people to do that and be like, well, I'm just a night owl, so it works that way. And I think our brains are just a little overstimulated at some point in the day, and that keeps us going, because, if you're not resting properly, you're not going to be that great of a business owner, or whatever you want to apply it to. So I think I just really need to start making an effort to really putting my phone away. And that also would mean to stop reading the business book that I'm reading after hours as well, because then when I pick up the Kindle, I'm like, let's read that business book.
Yeah.
And then my brain starts going, and I'm like, I should go work right now.
Yeah.
And I shouldn't. I should sleep. So, putting my phone away, social media, those kind of all go in one.
Sleep is such a domino for so many other
It's like we
problems.
need it. I don't know. I'm skeptical.
It's really important.
I don't know. What's your next one?
Daily quiet time for me and my kids. So I require just some quiet time.
This is in the Sallie manual.
I'm an introvert. Another thing I realized last night was, with having the C word over Christmas, I have been home pretty much 2 weeks straight. with my children, and I love and adore them. But it has been,
everyone needs a break.
I have not had a break. Like, I haven't gotten to go anywhere.
I haven't lived in civilization.
I haven't gotten to do anything. Today was the first time I went to the gym, and I'm realizing how much that gives me joy and energy to just go do something in the morning by myself. Even though I love having Andrew home, his work allows him to be home a lot more. I need just some time to just go do some stuff. And that's something I really want to develop in my kids, is that it is okay to be alone, and you do not have to be occupied by a screen or
for sure,
or a parent. 100% of the time, I want them to develop habits of playing by themselves. And so Dot, she's starting to get out of the age of napping. She most of the time naps. But I put her in her bed for 2 hours, even if she doesn't nap. And yesterday, she played for 2 hours.
That's awesome, though.
In her crib, and I heard her in there, and she was talking about turtles and all sorts of stuff.
She was having a great time.
She was having a great time. And I want her to develop her imagination and be okay with being alone. Because I know so many people who just can't be alone, and which leads into a whole bunch of other problems. But I enjoy my company.
I think I'm a great time.
I'd
like to get to know me. I'd like to hang out with me. I'll take me to dinner.
But I want Dot and George. And George, I mean, George is only 7 months old, so he's,
he really needs more alone time.
He needs some alone time now.
You need to set a mirror in front of him and let him reflect.
But then when it's quiet, usually during nap time, sometimes I just need a nap.
Right.
And that's
okay.
People who don't have any, I'm like, your kids don't even have alone time. What do you do? I require it.
I have also tried. I realized in the mornings, like after it's normally just Everly and I home in the mornings. And I realized, like, after I made her breakfast and we would come into the living room, I would have a tendency to sit on my phone. She plays by herself great. And so I normally just try to let her do her thing. And I was spending a lot of time just on my phone. And I personally felt about that. And so I try to have a book in my hands or just be doing something other than sitting and scrolling, because I'm not perfect. She's going to see me on my phone as she grows up, because it's the way of the world at this point. But with what I can control, and having her being able to be independent, but seeing me being independent from a screen or a TV or something, I think is just personally important to me. Just the same reasons. I want her to have an imagination. I want her to love to read, all of those things. So it starts with me. So.
Yeah, that's good.
Okay, my next one is going for a walk or just moving my body, but not setting it to a time limit, like 30 minutes a day I'm going to do that, because it's truly not realistic every day. At least right now it's not. And so just doing it intentionally is what I put, whether it be, even if I just was like, you know what, for 5 minutes in the evening, I'm going to stretch, like do some intentional, like whether it be yoga, or if the day is great, I could go for a walk. If it's not great, do something inside that just allows me to move. But I think it's really easy coming out of the holidays to feel frosted over, and like you gotta start chiseling away and figuring out where your active self is, because it's been in hibernation. And so I think for me, just starting very small with like, how can I just even stretch in the morning? Like while I'm even sitting, I used to do that while I was sitting in bed. That was one of my things. Like I would just stretch a lot and try to wake myself up to get out of bed, which sounds ridiculous, but my bed is so cozy and it required that. But I need to pick that up, because I feel better.
I feel better with daily movement as well. My number 5 is eating at the table. This is, Andrew and I last year kind of had a life blow up of, what are we doing?
I'm good at sound effects.
And one of the things that really had been bothering me was that it felt like this, because we would make dinner, park in front of the TV.
Yeah.
Dot had her high chair in front of the TV, and just it felt like our whole life revolved around YouTube. And then when I get done in the day, what time did we spend together? We spent the time next
Or
to
what
each other.
conversations did we have or anything?
And my family growing up, we had dinner at the table every night.
Non-negotiable.
Non-negotiable. And the times we didn't, it was like pizza night. We're watching a movie. It was still
intentional.
family oriented, or even if not everyone was home, you still sit down and have a meal. And so that is something that we started, and we're not there every night, but most nights out of the week, we are at the dinner table eating, and phones away, and Dot and George eat around the same time. And it is so fun to, Andrew and I have a conversation.
Yeah.
And also include her and help and talk about her day and get her conversation skills going. And we were working on manners and all of those things that you learn, that I'm thinking, when did I learn this? And now I realize I learned it at the dinner table with my parents. That's when they taught me how to do certain stuff. So eating at the dinner table, and same thing with since I'm home with my kids, breakfast and lunch.
Yeah.
We eat at the table for the most part. And it just makes everything a little less hectic.
Just gives you a little more life.
Yeah, and to sit down and enjoy a meal instead of, we got to go here. Here, take this.
Eat on the go. Here's a bar.
Yes.
Which some days it's like that.
Sometimes you have to.
And you just survive.
Yeah. Yes.
But I think if you have time, like we're talking about, when you're in control of your time and have the opportunity to be intentional with it, then you see like positive changes in those places. My last one is getting out of my pajamas by 10 a.m. And I put a time limit on it because, what's wrong with being in your pajamas? And I don't want to say like the moment that my feet hit the floor, I've got to get dressed, because that's not realistic for me. But at least by 10 a.m. because I know that Everly's had breakfast. I've had breakfast. The day is moving. That gives me time to be comfy and to have my coffee and be cozy. But then by 10 a.m., I need to get it together.
It makes a huge difference when you put on clothes for your day.
I don't believe it. I'll let you know what I think. And I don't just bum around my house all day.
I do if I'm in my pajamas.
And sometimes I'll just, do a little upgrade from pajamas to like leggings or sweatpants. And that even changes things for me because I hate jeans. So I don't want to put myself in a bad mood by just getting dressed in jeans every day and being mad. Michael will be like, why are you so mad every day? Because I'm putting jeans on by 10 a.m. But if I'm just intentionally, putting myself together a little bit, I'm going to feel better and more motivated to work in between nap time, which is not for everyone, but it's important for me to do just to keep my day moving. So it's just being intentional.
I was advertised to today on Instagram for sophisticated house dresses.
I need that.
And I almost bought one. And then I thought, I don't need to buy this right now. But I almost did. I thought that would change everything.
Take my money right now.
If I had a house dress. But call it old fashioned. I love the show. I Love Lucy.
I know.
And they got dressed. And they're and you may be like, it's the patriarchy and oppressive, whatever. But I think I have cute clothes that I want to wear.
I mean,
what is wrong with me
we're all
wanting
spending
to get
money
dressed?
on clothes.
Yeah.
And
I'm wearing the thing I spent the least amount of money on.
Or the cheapest. And I'm like, just throw that on. But then it also makes me realize, why do I have all of this if I don't like it all?
Yeah.
That's a different conversation. Okay, we listed 5 things each.
Yeah.
We're going to hold each other accountable.
Oh, I'm texting you tomorrow at 10 to see if you are out of your pajamas.
Oh, man, I didn't realize this started so quickly.
Yeah. I'm texting you at 10. I'm keeping you accountable.
Aren't we?
See if you did your stretches.
Have you done your stretches yet? Okay. To wrap this thing up, I'm going to ask you a question.
Okay.
What is a small gesture or something that you're going to do for a friend this week?
I had a friend who just moved into a new house, and I have been meaning to go visit her, and because of the C word, I haven't been able to, didn't get to for Christmas, and this week I was just thinking, I need to circle back around.
Circle back.
And she's got a little girl, a little bit older than Dot, and Dot would love to go over and play.
Yeah.
And so that is, I'm kind of have a list in my mind of people that have reached out. You know, the ones we're like, we'll go get coffee.
Yeah, we should get together sometime. Do it.
I'm doing it with one particular friend. And
okay.
this week, I'm going to text her.
You're doing it.
Yeah.
That's good.
What about you?
What
are you doing for me this week? For your friend?
I'm encouraging you to get your life together. No, we have some friends who came down with an illness, and so I'm going to make them dinner and take it over to them. Just do a little porch drop.
Are you making sourdough?
I actually considered it. I probably, because my goal was to make a pot of soup, and so
you need to make soup in a bread bowl. Ooh. Individual bread bowls. There you go.
Oh man, you're making this a lot of work. This was supposed to be a small gesture. No, I could do that. But either way, I'm going to take some friends who are under the weather some dinner.
That is so kind.
You're lucky to have me.
So lucky to have you.
All right.
Well, that wraps up episode 1. If you enjoyed this.
You did, right?
I hope. Like and subscribe. I'm told that helps get the word out. Leave us a review. Share with a friend. If you are on the fence about whether or not that was good, just give us some time, you guys. This was our first episode. But give us a little bit of time.
We will see you next time.
Yeah, have a great week.
All right, bye.